That works. I'm keeping it. So,
for anyone who has an IT background, we joke that after a couple of years in that industry, you get an IT aura where things just start working when you walk by. She has a game tester aura where things just start falling apart, but in a good way and a reproducible way. It's the most useful thing ever. Casey, our coder, has commented on many occasions. She just walks into a room, a game will do a thing, and he's like, I've been trying to reproduce that for 3 days, and you did it in 3 minutes. And I'm pretty sure he's the reason that she got fired. Not fired.
Wow.
Well, you're the intern now. You can fire me for that.
All right.
super fired.
Our organization is very upside down, so the interns are actually at the top level. I got my interns coffee, not the other way around.
They worked for a week, right? There was technically.
Yeah, it worked. I got fired.
It worked.
Right. Our old intern Luke fired me. It was great. Mm-hmm. So Steve put together our slides for this week. We have a couple of stories to tell. We're going to tell the story of Barior's Barbecue, how it all came together, what it meant for us as a company and us individually, and we're going to share, our interactions with the legend Barry, who unfortunately is not here. So, we are happy to be here in his stead and to present his final work as complete as we could make it. And we hope you enjoy it. It is in the free play room in the back corner. And in my opinion, that is the best playing one I've had my hands on. So do go check it out. And if you want, we'll also go over some of the goals and rules, because I've heard a few people say that once they understood their goals, that game they liked it a lot more. So, sure, you want to kick off the slides or whatever we got going on?
Next slide, please. All right, how well can we see that?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. So there's
the original, close to the original car hop design that Barry and I were working on once we were talking about it. So this is about, I think it's dated November 2021, but we started talking about this in August of that year, where we were, basically I'm hoping to try to get this as close to Space Shuttle as possible without it being Space Shuttle, because...
Nailed it.
Thank you. Awesome. Thank you. Because Space Shuttle was my first pinball game I ever played. So this game coming out is the completion of a 40-year arc of my life. So that is one reason why I'm especially proud and grateful that this happened. So this is called Car Hop. It's codenamed Car Hop. I mean, we know there's a Car Hop game that exists, so it would not have been able to come out with that name. But you can sort of see in the design, compare it to what, well, we'll get to those in the later pictures, but to what Barior's Barbecue Challenge ended up being. And you can kind of see a little of the space shuttle-ness in here, but the anomaly would be the drop targets, right? Mm-hmm. Where we attempted to do something which, some things just don't work out, but hey, you got to try stuff. Where we put the sweepable drop targets on the right, the far right, and then attempt to do a sweepable target into the hole at the top. It's sort of like a combo, like a long-distance combo in that way. But we'll talk about how that ain't a thing in a few other slides, okay?
So, Steve, I can't help but notice that this does not say food truck anywhere.
No,
so
it does not say
you
food
care
truck.
To describe the relationship between Barior's Barbecue and the rumored food truck pin?
Absolutely none.
None whatsoever. Yes.
Maybe I could draw maybe one thing, the fact that a star rating exists.
Well, the designer was clearly hungry. That's about all I got.
Yes,
Barry was a hungry man. He liked him some food, and who doesn't?
This has nothing to do with Voldemort's food truck, okay? This has nothing to do with that.
Everyone seems to think that whenever they walk up to it, they're like, it's not a hard leap to go from food truck to barbecue. It's like, actually, those two things are completely separate and have never had any overlap whatsoever. We would tell you in this fun little presentation if it did, but instead we're going to show you the original drawing for Car Hop,
right?
Which was what Barry made for us. Completely started and finished this drawing while working for API during the short period that we had him.
Right.
So I guess we could start by telling. Maybe we don't have to get into all the nitty gritty teary stuff that we did last time.
No,
but
I mean, it won't be teary. It'll be more inspirational.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So the timeline kind of went something like this. Barry got hired by American Pinball. David Fix reached out to him right when we found out that the whole Deep Root thing wasn't going so hot, and we decided to pluck a few people out of the whirlpool, as it were. So it's swirling the drain, and we're just like, let's get Steve Bowden out of there and put him on dry land, and let's do the same with Barry. So unfortunately, Barry had been diagnosed with cancer, and he was running through his chemo treatments while he was at Deep Root, and his health insurance was not existent at Deep Root, and so he unfortunately had to stop his treatments. And so when we hired him, David Fix was very adamant, and he went to war with HR and said, we're not going to wait. This man's getting health insurance on day one. Barry, go get your treatments. I don't want to hear it. He was like, no, don't give me special treatment. Don't give me special treatment. It's like, I don't want to hear it. Go to the doctor. And while you're at it, can you design me a game with spinners on the ramps? Barry's like, all right, cool.
Let's go.
That was the seed. Fix said, give me a game with spinners on the ramp, and he just said, okay, and came up with the rest of it. And so, what was it? What did it take him, like a month, 2 months?
Not even. We weren't even talking very much before we finished with this thing. Yeah, it was not even. The man is a machine.
A month later, he gives us an almost this drawing from nothing. Like it wasn't napkin doodle, then iteration. Like it's give me a game with spinners on the ramps. A month later, this is turned in. So, unfortunately, we've had to dispel a couple of really upsetting rumors to us. I'm just gonna just get this out of the way. Rumors happen with every game. People talk. People are bored. They have to speculate. But this one really upset us, and so we wanted to make sure we put this right down. There is a really upsetting rumor that Barry did not design this game, and that is just why. How could you know? Why would you know? Why would we lie?
I mean,
that's the most ridiculous thing in the world.
Were you in the same room with us when we were talking? I mean, maybe you had bugged the room, or you had bugged our phones when we were talking about the game.
And even if you were somehow right, the impersonation level that a designer would have to do to pretend to make a Barry game is ridiculous. Why would we bother with that? It's stupid. Please stop repeating it. We will show you his original drawings, and we will tell you all the stories of everything he had involved in the project. I know none of you in this room are saying that, but podcasters will say whatever they can to get clicks, and then they repeat it as if it's fact, which is the problem. You can speculate all you want, just don't pass your speculation on as fact. So, as we said, Barry, the machine, had a complete game first draft done in a month, and then at that point is when he had started going back to get his chemo treatments because his health insurance was back, and unfortunately he had a bad reaction to resuming chemo, and we lost him because of that. I was actually about to meet him in a week. I have never had the pleasure of meeting Barry, and Steve did, and I'm very glad that got to happen. I'm so glad to hear that. I want to check out that recording at some point. I remember I was in one of my several trips to Chicago before actually moving out there. I was in a meeting with a supplier about stand-up targets. We were getting a new supplier for stand-up, anti-loft, anti-sway targets that we were going to use in some of our upcoming games. And at the time, my favorite breakfast place was Wild Berry. It's freaking delicious. And I'm eating my pancakes, and I see David Fix get a text message, and I just see his heart and eyes just sink, and he says, "Oh no." Yeah. And he just stares at his phone for like 30 full seconds, and I've never seen that man rattled. You can mess with him all day. You can do whatever you want. You can throw him under the bus. I have never seen him shaken like this, and I just said, "David, what's wrong?" I'd forgotten our supplier was even there. Like at this point, I felt actually kind of rude later on, but and then we found out that we had lost Barry.
Yeah, really, because when I had got the call from Kathy, right, and I was being prepared to share this news, and I know where I was. I'm in that office where Mitesh is now. That's where I was sitting, and I'm like, well, here we go. I have to get myself together. Stay stoic, get professional to break the news to Fix and talk about what we're going to talk about. And all through that, once I had processed that, and all of a sudden I'm like, you have that, I guess you can call it the oh crap moment, where it's like, wait a minute, that means I'm game designer now. I need a lot of help. So immediately at that point, I start hurriedly getting notes of everything that I was going to ask Barry about, that we were going to discuss the drop charts, we were going to discuss the ramps, we were going to discuss our initial rules that we had with it. I firstly start typing it down so I don't forget, because if I forget anything, it would just break my heart if I forget everything that we talked about. Certain things that I know he wanted were literally in green text on the rule set, as these are Barry's words, these will not be touched.
He ran to his office and he shut himself in there for 2 hours. Right. And we thought, if it weren't for the glass doors, we would have thought he was upset, but he was just frantically scribbling down everything he could remember Barry said to him.
Right, exactly. So once I would, I was satisfied with that, and then and once we broke the news and everything, and we had the team meeting, we discussed what we were going to do with that, and then that's when the idea of a tribute game began to manifest in my mind and in the team's mind, and I'm so glad that the team accepted it and really pulled this off.
So after that, to continue my little timeline, after that breakfast was when we got back to the office, and we called the big team meeting, and we broke the news to the rest of the team. Unfortunately, some people hadn't heard yet, and Barry was a very dear friend. Zofia comes to mind specifically.
Right. Yes.
So after that,
I think we can advance to the next slide, because I just want to see some of because I go through some of the iterations of it, just so we can get more modern. So this is the car hop with more of the inserts filled in, right? Yeah, more of the inserts filled in. You can see car hop coming together. You can see there were burgers and fries, I think, in there. Yeah, burgers and fries and things that you're going to be doing 3 levels. There definitely some rule of 3 happening there. Mm-hmm. One of the things I wanted to discuss with Barry was, what is a medium burger? What does that mean? Because that's a little weird. So that might have been one of the first changes we worked on as far as grammatically and gameplay, like. Mm-hmm. But I just want to get to a certain point in this. You can go to the next one, a little bit more of a iteration where some of the bonus lights go in, because this is going to be a very simple game.
Oh yeah,
that was going to score in the hundreds of thousands. We're talking about maybe we're going to do a 7-digit display, really take it old school. Do a dot matrix. So. Right? Let's really take it back to old school and do it that way. So you'll see.
I think it was right about that time while we were in the planning stages that Pulp Fiction came out. We're like, well, they just did it. I mean, we can still do it, but like now the throwback's not ours. So you say you want to go to the next slide?
Yeah, the next one is the last iteration before we get to your VPX.
All right. I'm not there yet.
I know, but I want to take you there so that when you get to the VPX, we slowly transition over. This was one of the last versions with some of the more of the things filled in. The idea of the radial system, as far as the bonuses, Playfield X started to come in as I'm starting to integrate more. Mm-hmm.
And this is all still Barry, right?
Yeah, this is more, and this is
in that same month.
This is still us talking about me while I'm trying to integrate some more Barry-ness in this game, because I love his games, right? Because he was gonna, really, he was gonna come to American Pinball. It's gonna be Barry and I. He was gonna help me teach me the Barry system and the philosophy. That was one. I was really being able to learn from this man how he's able to design so quickly games that make sense, games that are easy to learn and hard to master. And so I was so looking forward to. Beyond the 3+ years we worked at Voldemort's, being able to deepen my knowledge and relationship with him in that way. So that's really so. I want to get to this point so that you can continue with that.
So, anyway, we get to the meeting. The unfortunate news is broken to the rest of the team, and we kind of dispersed for about an hour so everyone could collect themselves, and then. We realized, all right, we only have a lot more meetings that we have to have, because just like Steve had his moment of, okay, like now that my emotions are starting to process, this has a lot of implications that we, like, unfortunately, we need to deal with. So you start going through that, and so we had the final team meeting of the day, where it became very apparent that all of the plans that we had, and we had a timeline going out in 6 years at that point, like on paper, ready to go. We had a schedule and everything. That carefully crafted schedule was completely thrown out the window that day. We had a lineup. We had this game is next, this game is next, this game is next. Literally crumpled it up, threw it in the pile, and was like, all right, well, Barry's game is next. We're finishing this game. Does anyone in this room think we should not finish this game that he has given us? And they're just silence, pin drop. So it was just, all right, we're all agreed. We're going full on. We're going to finish Barry's final game, and we'll figure out what the rest of our plan is later. We'll put it all together. So that's what we did. We all broke. We dropped everything we were working on for the other games and put it on a shelf. And we all started frantically studying all of the information we had. And I had a long meeting with Dennis that day about and Zofia about how much, if anything, what we were going to do. So we realized we'd been handed a first draft, and that's all we had.
Right.
And so
we had that, and we had the rules, which were very haphazard and introductory at that point. So, this was me after scribbling everything down, basically rearranging all the Lego blocks we had that I was going to talk with Barry about. And this is when the Barry tribute format started germinating in my head, and you'll see how that progresses as we move forward.
So we had the mechanical and design had a meeting. We're like, well, we don't have him anymore, so this is all we're ever going to get. So what's our plan? And the very first thing we all agreed on is we need to make our first Whitewood exactly as Barry has designed it. Not a single change, even though we all see some obvious things that are not going to stay. Like there are a couple posts that are just in like not correct positions, but we don't care. We're gonna put this together exactly as he designed it, so we can all play it, and then we will decide how much to change, how much to add, like what needs changing, what would be like in this, what he would want us to change or add to it, because again, this is a game that he had only taken one pass at, and like for all we know, he had grand plans to add like a second playfield or three of them. We don't know. Like we don't know.
We hadn't got to that point in our discussions either. So this is going to be one of the things we were going to discuss when he got to join me.
Exactly.
We were going to go through the iterative process, but this is what we had at this point, and we had to see what we were going to work with. So as we created the game as it was written, and we started to discover, okay, we know this is probably not going to work. Okay, we really can't do this. I mean, we can get into the drop targets on the right.
Oh yeah,
right?
we'll get there.
Yeah.
So this was also supposed to be the game that I was supposed to be mentored on. So the schedule, and like Barry was actually told, we have a junior designer. He's very talented. He made his own game, but he doesn't know anything about the industry or proper practice, etc. And we want to bring you in to like take him under your wing and start teaching him how to do this the right way. And from what I heard, because I unfortunately never got to meet my mentor, he was very excited and couldn't wait to start working with me. And so I was going to be part of the design process on this game from day one. We were going to make all the changes.
I can tell you that he was excited. Yep. So you don't. Okay.
I believe this. I unfortunately never got to see it.
I want to be ultra confirmed. Yes.
So we ended up breaking for the day. It was a very somber day, and coming in to work the next day, and it's like, all right, well, now we have to actually get started on this big project, and that doesn't have to be a bad thing. So I'm still a new designer who has very little experience in this. I'm still just a homebrew guy. I've just started. I just got my own office. Like I barely even have access to the systems. And I'm like, you know what? I do have one thing I can really contribute with right now. And that is something I've talked about a lot in the homebrew seminars, which is visual pinball, VPX. I have a drawing. I have access to this drawing. It is accurate. I go to my office because no one needs me for anything. I just started, and they're all frantically working on other things. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to be useful. And I took Barry's drawing, and I imported it into VPX as the playfield background. So I set in the exact dimensions for the playfield, and I cut the drawing so it was exactly pixel edges, so it would line up. And then I used that as a background, and I literally recreated every single thing on that drawing in VPX.
Which I believe is next on the...
It is. So that would be the next slide.
Yeah, okay. There we go. Yeah. Nice. Yes.
And that's what I worked on for the next 3 days. I didn't bother telling anybody because everyone was too busy to talk to the new guy at this point. And I got it all designed right down to the T, right every insert, everything. I didn't get all any programming really done for it. I did end up programming a multi-ball just so we could see. It's important to see how a game plays with multi-ball. And then when I finished this and I had shot it, I was like, oh my god, this thing like shoots even in VPX with no adjustments and nothing changed whatsoever. Like all these shots work. It's like I just walked up to a game and it's just functional. So I brought this to the rest of the team and I had to explain what it was. They had no idea what they were looking at. I'm like, just trust me. Like it's a physics simulator. It's like 95 to 99% accurate depending on the situation. Yes, Lynn, backhands don't work that great. Where is he? Whatever. He doesn't need to be here. But it lets everyone in the building see and feel the vision before we ever even build it. So they're not even started thinking about building one, and I have something they can play. So they already know that most of Barry's work works. So I think we have a short video on one of the slides.
I didn't link it. Yeah, I didn't link it because I was afraid of how much that would. I mean, since I'm sending a
okay, that's
email,
fine.
so
That's
it's not
fine.
in there. I didn't put the video in there.
Well, I'll probably post that on our official.
Yeah, we can put that there. But there's a slide of it.
Oh, okay, cool. So we can get the next one.
I think is it the next? No, then we get the close up to the three bank.
So this is the close up, not specifically of the three bank, but just to show you the overlay of the his original drawing to where each of the posts ended up. So you can just see that I'm putting the lights in VPX right over his lights. I'm putting the posts right over his posts. The dotted lines mean something's underneath the playfield, so you don't have to pay any attention to that. That's the drop target mechanism. Which color is which? So green things are entities in VPX, so your ramp specifically. So and then there's a few. So the black and white, yes, where it says light mystery and everything, that's what Barry drew. You can't really see it that well, but that target that's above light mystery, there is a VPX entity target there. If I were to click it, it would light up blue, but it's a wireframe black and white. But some of the entities in VPX have color, so that's why you can see them so well. So the insert lights, I made them white, but you can see how they have the circle of aura around them. Each one has its own. It's poorly traced because I made the circle by hand. It doesn't really matter. And all those white rubbers are VPX entities too. So yeah, we can keep going. Yep, there's just more of a complex. You can see the pop bumper entities, just the blue and white rings overlaid with his, along with his ramp routing and his scoops, and you can see the process of overlaying exactly in what is normally a freehand, do whatever the heck you want program, and it can follow a real drawing very quickly. So this was what I worked on for a couple days. You can give me the next one now.
Next one, yeah.
There we go. So I had a short video of playing it. However, when you do it this way in VPX, you can actually get the blueprint to be the playfield image. So that's how it was done. So when you play it, you can literally see his drawing as if we had glued it to the playfield. And this is what I brought to the team. At this point, it was when I got to this point, you can see I didn't even delete all the default posts on the side.
Right. This is when he ran around the office and said, "Steve, come in here right now."
It still says Cosmic Lady on the apron.
Yeah, right. I
Anyone
come in
who
there right
knows
now.
my
Okay,
lore.
let's play this. And here I am for the next whatever it was, minutes or hours, flipping this thing, and I'm like, "Yeah, this is feeling really good."
And I think it was that point
repeating
I think it was that point David Fix walked into the office like, "What are you two doing?"
It's like, well, you come over and look and you see, and then okay, now sit down.
Just on my screen is
down.
Barry is the game he's been looking at, and he's like, "The hell is this?"
It's like, let's go. Right.
I'm like, "What? Do you think I've been doing nothing for the last 3 days?" And at that point he invites everyone in the office to come see it, and Zofia saw it, and Dennis saw it. Dennis wasn't really sure what he was looking at, but he could tell what it was once we explained it to him, and he kind of just wandered off to his office to go work 2D again. Poor guy. I tried to get him to understand VPX, but he just never really could, and that was fine. But Zofia was like, "This is amazing. How could this? You could already play this, and it's been 2 days." I'm like, "Yep, it can." So, yeah, that was a really fun part of the journey, and it was also fun for me as what was supposed to be a mentoree or whatever you even call that, and just to go over every single line and every single post that he had placed was kind of a weird experience, but it was
like
good. And I actually learned a lot
It
from
was a
just doing it.
mentorship. That's what it was.
It was.
That's what happened.
I actually learned a lot there, and I like to think he would have been proud of me, because I actually, as soon as I had finished this, I made a second version where I fixed some obvious mistakes. Where, like I said, there were just some posts that weren't in the right spot. Like specifically, the right scoop was way too closed off for no reason. So I was able to move the posts back, change the wall a little bit. Doesn't close the other shot, opens that one wide up. And Dennis was like, "Oh yeah, good job. Barry would have loved that." So.
I have one question.
Sure.
Did he design the table before he knew that he was mentoring you?
No.
Okay,
I think
what if
He knew.
He knew that.
I don't.
What if he made mistakes so he can intentionally teach you?
I doubt that, but maybe.
I also cannot confirm or deny that.
That seems like a lot of work just to
don't know.
just to screw with your new intern.
I mean,
Really?
Yeah.
Barry Williams would put things in just so that somebody else could come on and say, "Why'd you do that?" Get that out.
I did have one afternoon with Dennis like that. Dennis gave me one of those. He said, "What's wrong with this?" and had me list everything wrong with it. He said I did quite well on that one. So that's kind of the end of my story when it comes to the beginning of Bario's. I was involved in the development from a very early on thing, and then around halfway through, I was branched off to work on my own title, which is now, I think we're confirmed as that's the next one. So there it is.
Yes. It is.
I don't have any other information on it, but it is the next game we're going to be releasing. So my earliest contributions were working with Dennis when we decided to make the two small changes to the game that we actually ended up making, which is, as Steve mentioned, we moved Barry's drop targets from the position on the upper right orbit, whereas it's the multi-ball release shot, to the more classic space shuttle position.
It's the space shuttle position.
And
yes.
that was not done just because we wanted it there. It was done because it really wasn't working. Like, it was a ball hang up, and you couldn't hit them on purpose. And Barry's vision of being able to hit some drops on the way out of the scoop did work, but more often than not, it was not pleasant for the player. Like, it would hit one down, but then the feed would be awful, and it was just. We made some very small changes. There was that one, and then you, me, and Dennis were in his office, and we were discussing how it's a very simple game, and that's fine. But for a code and rules perspective, you were struggling because the saucers in a classic Barry-style game, as soon as a ball is locked in them, that shot is lost. So we have space shuttle, exactly.
Yeah, space shuttle.
If there's a ball and a lock in space shuttle, I mean,
you don't even aim for it.
Because of lock stealing, you don't need to hit it.
You don't need to hit it.
But now, for a more modern rule set, you can't do anything with that. You can't make that a mode shot. You can't do anything. And while we do have enough shots we could have worked with, it was just unfortunate to lose those shots. And I don't remember what inspired me. I just kind of looked at it and went, what if we do this? And that's when I just came up with the idea for bash locks, which is what they later got called. What?
Is there a slide for that?
I don't think we have a slide for bash locks.
for that specifically.
Oh, I'm bad like that.
There's one that points it out, because there's one that points out the entire flyer with the plate. With that,
yeah.
So we have that.
That later became a marketing thing, but
Right.
it was just a way that we could make it so that if a ball was locked in a classic saucer, we could still keep it as a shot that you could hit. And I tried to explain my idea of a teardrop-shaped saucer to Dennis and everybody in the room, and Steve got it immediately. He knew exactly what I was going for.
I was fine with it. I was just making sure I'll just do it so that I can so I can shake the heck out of it and make sure I can't Dracula the wall in
But you
there.
understood where I was coming from the very beginning.
That's the first thing. Once it passed that, I'm like, let's go.
Yeah,
That means I get my shots back.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dennis was struggling with understanding what I was trying to tell him, because I was way too excited and animated and like I never do. Hold on, let me drink some caffeine.
Have some more.
All right, let's go. And so he's getting frustrated and fixes. Like, Ryan, just go build it. Just go in the lab and build it. And I'm like, all right, fine. So I went and found Hot Wheels playfield or something that had a classic saucer that we already had, and I just started in with the jigsaw, making it into a more teardrop style and using a file to get the edges down. And I was like, look at this. If we do it just like this, the ball sits there, but then if you hit it, it will briefly roll backwards off the switch and then back onto it.
Right, and stay in there
and
most
stay
of the
in there
time.
99%
Most
of the time.
Until I play it.
Until Bree plays it,
Bree
breaks it.
does it.
But that's okay because it happens so rarely, but it's fully detectable. So we could do something like Roller Coaster Tycoon used to do, where if it failed to move the locks, it would say, "Oh no, not two at once," and give you a secret multi-ball that's the only way you could do. And that was a full coded mode. It had jackpots and stuff, but you could only get it by accident. Right. So now that lets us. I don't think it's in their game, but that's planned.
Not yet, but it just
like if you knock a ball loose, we're gonna have a call out. It's gonna be like 2-ball multi-ball. Here you go.
Yes.
Like you just couldn't wait, could you, or something like that? I don't know.
That will happen.
Yep. But it's so infrequent. But like every time you bonk that thing, it just rolls right back and right back on the switch. Mm-hmm. And so now. The easiest way I show people this is when I put in a 2-player game and I lock a ball with player 1, and then I die, I drain, and then I die. Yes, exactly. And player 2 will notice that they don't have that lock. There's no lock. There's no proper lock stealing. You haven't earned that, but it's blinking. And if you just bash that ball one time, now you have your lock and it goes solid. So, but we also, if there is a ball in there unrelated. You can collect fireworks that way. And so we got a crazy light show, and the game vibrates, and you did something.
Yep, and fireworks is a Barry reference, but we'll just move on.
So
there's a reason why it's called fireworks. So, yes, but go ahead.
And then I still remember this, because I don't think I'm ever going to hear it again. And when I finished this and we decided to go with it, David ran off for a little while. And then he came back, and he's like, "Ryan, I never get to say this, but I really don't think that's ever been done in any game before, ever. Like, this never happens. It's always been done in some game. It's always been done in some old Gottlieb has done everything. Or in some way or something similar. It's like, oh, you mean like this game? Oh, I've never even played that game. I didn't know that." But he was like, "No, this one's actually truly original. Good job." So it's a small thing, but I'm never going to hear that again. So I'm happy about it. So,
and I'm glad for the avenues it reopened up in the rule set as well, because I'm going to look forward to pay you. You're already going to get paid to hit it. You're already being paid to hit it. But I'm looking forward to paying you for hitting it out and then paying you again for putting it back in. Yeah. Okay, so there's going to be 3 levels of payment available to you as far as your score for doing those actions. That's going to really help expand strategy and other things, and there's implication with the Playful X, and I should just stop because I'll start rattling on about the rules and we haven't got there yet, so go ahead.
But we're about to get there. So that was one of my biggest contributions to the game, and then, again, fine-tuning a lot of the things, fine-tuning the skill shot with Dennis and moving a bunch of walls to make things as smooth as possible. But it was at that point where we reached the point where I was going to pivot on to starting my own project, and I worked on mine for, I don't know, probably the rest of the duration of Barbecue. I was more of like a consultant than an actual designer, which is why I'm not like on the very top with Barry and Dennis and Steve. I'm more of a consultant in the middle. Although I did find out yesterday that I was actually on the apron credited. I didn't know that.
I told you before.
I didn't know I was on the apron.
That's what I told you. That's why
I know, and it's all your fault.
That's why I came in the office and then said, "No, you're on."
Yeah, but I thought you meant software. Like my name's on the screen, and then he's like, "Oh, it's on the
It's
apron.
right here."
Well,
because I wanted it there.
So,
that's why.
So at this point, it becomes more of a Jack, Steve, and Zofia show.
Right, yeah. I guess we can go to the next one. What is the next one? I think it's where we start getting monitor. Okay, yeah, this is where we get into hello, mini LCD. Okay, this is some of the things that I've. Once we were discussing what else are we going to have on this game that makes this game more than it is. This is where the mini LCD screen comes in, right? And I'm starting to think of some ideas of what I could put on there to help the player not have to look up at the screen.
Wasn't it originally going to be a 7-segment?
Yeah, it was going to be a 7 segment. It was going to be a big 7-segment. Then it went to maybe DMD. And then once that didn't happen, then I'm like, okay, let's continue to make this more of a utility by putting the mini screen in there. Because I wanted this in there so that you could look at you have something always staring at you. Like those two became nicknamed as the 2 big numbers. There were 3 big numbers for a thing, but I got rid of one. So those are
Thank you.
Those are the 2 big numbers that are always staring at you most of the time, and their implication in your scoring are very key. But you notice that top line is changing up there. You know, it's like drop targets, cook the side dishes, and then it'll switch to shoot saucers to defeat Gator Dine, who is one of the characters in the game. So what that is doing is giving you a tooltip so that you always look down and see, what do I do now? I could just look down, I can see my score. My score is up 100% of the time. That score bar is always there, because I never want you to not see your score. I always want you to see it as much as possible. Even if for some reason the top screen is covered, I want you to at least see your score, especially for tournament implications and competitive play. The other boxes around there were just my trying to figure out what else I could put down there and not have it look too annoying or busy or whatever. To try just to give you a guide and showing you what important information I could have down there for you at a glance, to avoid you having to look up at the screen as much as possible, because you're playing pinball. I mean, you don't really have a lot of time to look up there, because you got balls running around and you're trying to not die. So I wanted to put as much important information as I can there. So I think if we can go to the next one, I think I continue with that. Yeah, so I'm just continuing on with the idea of how I'm going to show you what the multi-ball value is. What does the ladder mean, as far as when you're in multi-ball and you're climbing the ladder of greatness, which is based on what you do during gameplay. You know,
literally send a grill to space.
Yeah, we're sending a grill to space, but that's part. Yeah, so
it's one of the best animations.
Like, up there, you see the mode timers counting down. You still the top tooltip layer up there is telling you what to do. Shoot jackpots. These many jackpots are left to get to the top and all of that. So, and your score again always visible. And I'm just working out this small notes of what this number means in the middle that you're looking at. You notice you have the big number in the middle. You got a number that's up above you that you can't quite see, because you're visualizing you're basically climbing a ladder. Imagine, like, I guess, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire Barbecue Grill Edition?
Yeah.
Right? But really, I mean, I guess I should give them this Barry game reference since we're here, right?
Oh, we should do that.
Yeah. Let's do, because I couldn't.
So we got about 20 minutes.
Yeah, we got.
I want to make sure we hit everything.
Yeah, but it's at the end. I have to reveal them all.
That's fine.
But
we do.
But
okay.
yeah, I have to. We can't do this. We can't do the Family Feud one. Yeah,
that's all right.
We can do it the other way. We can show them the games and they can try and point it out.
So, I like that.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So. I do want everyone to appreciate, y'all have now heard Steve Bowden talk about rules for about 5 minutes. Now you understand why excited I am to have him doing my rules. I could never reach that level of enthusiasm in detail, so I am so happy that you were the one leading my rules team.
So I think if we go to the next one, I think it's similar. Okay, what you're seeing is a preview of what was going to be the top of the ladder, right? This is the Ultra Jackpot. It's one of the big prizes. And so I don't know if you won't be able to place this unless if you really know what I'm referencing this game from. This ladder is a reference to one of my favorite multi-balls in all of pinball, the Jackpot multi-ball.
Thank you.
Okay?
Jackpot is my favorite type.
That is it.
And I think he's
Right. Jackpot's multi-ball is maybe my favorite. I have to think before that. Okay. And so the difference is, let's say, since you know the Jackpot multi-ball, what is the first jackpot amount in jackpots? What's the first one? What number do you start off at? 50. That is correct. It is 50 million. And then you go up the ladder, 50, 75, 100, and it explodes in your face. One fit right with the space shuttle, 150, 200, So the first amount is 50 million. In this game, the first amount is what you bring to the table, whatever it is.
That number, one of those two big numbers that was staring you in the face the whole time.
It's that one. So whether it's 1 million or 30 million, I had it up to 70 million, and I was kind of scared of the rules.
You're a monster.
It was awesome.
I was kind of scared. I was like, is this imbalanced? And I'm like, no, because you still got to do it. Like, don't start it at 40 million and make one shot. I mean, don't do that. You know, I've started with 40 million and made one shot, and then I started with 8 million and made 10 shots. So that's all on you. It's a big risk reward thing, but that's the thing. It's like it is your Who Wants to Be a Millionaire ladder. It's where you start. as opposed to the 50 million. So if I started at 5 million and you come up after me, you know I started at 5 million. You're going to want to go for 6 million, 7 million, 8 million. Because what's the difference? 5 million becomes 7.5 million, becomes 10 million, becomes 12. But if you started at 10 million becomes 15 million, becomes 20 million, becomes 20, and all the way up. So I'm showing. So when you get to multi-ball, you'll see the big prize at the top.
We dangle it right in front of you, 500 million. Then we start driving down.
Megabucks progressive at the top, and then all the numbers on the way down is your ladder that you made. Good luck.
And they described all
at the very
of
bottom is that number you saw that you chose to start, whatever it is, 3,578,240. Okay, there you go. All right, good luck. Go up the ladder.
I still remember being told about this ladder and then being told that we're going to be going to space with it. And I'm like, wait, I thought we started with a grill. How are you going to get a grill to space? And then I come in after like a week being somewhere else, and I see that Jessica, our graphics artist, has literally just turned some hot sauce bottles down, and we're just using them as jets. And I'm like, all right, cool, send it. Yup. This grill's going to space.
Going to space.
And there's, in a future update, there might be something waiting for you up in space if you can manage to get that far.
Maybe.
So I highly anticipate that.
Some of you might know what that is through context. But
so let's try to scooch a little bit forward because we are.
You're running up. So let's go to the next one.
We always end up running up. So let's get to some trivia, and I don't want to miss this. So I'm gonna actually toss it over to our newest employee, and I want to know a couple of things, and this is actually just personally I want to know this. What do you do all day? Because I bring you to work.
She breaks things.
I bring you to work.
It's broken.
You sign in right now. You don't have to do that anymore, which is cool. And then I don't see you for the rest of the day. I have no idea where you're going, what you're doing. I'm in the lab swearing and burning myself and lighting fires, and you're in the code dungeon that we call it with Steve and Casey, and also swearing. I hear a lot of swearing coming from in there.
That happens as well. Yeah.
So what is your new role at American Pinball?
Like they said, I do a lot of test playing. So I've been doing a lot of test playing with Barbecue. So I'll go in and I will work on whatever they want me to do for the day. So if they're looking for bugs, I try to find bugs. Or for testing things, we try to do a lot of testing. So something that really I've been working on are the bash locks. So when we first implemented the bash locks on the game, we were trying to figure out, so if you are a second player going into your first ball and the first player has locked a ball, you only hit the other lock so that you don't qualify your lock on the left. So that's not your lock.
It's there, but it's not mine.
You have locked your right ball. We had to code so that when the ball is released, you only got 2 balls instead of 3 balls. So stuff like that. So it's a lot of sitting in and looking at Barbecue and hitting switches and putting things where they need to be and recreating things to make sure that we can get the code right so that it plays well for all of you. So that's super fun and exciting. We also look at lights and seeing, is this mode confusing to new players? When I get up to the machine, do I know what I'm looking at? So we changed the Barbecue pit targets so that they're a different color, so that they're a little bit easier on the eyes, so you can kind of figure out this is what I should be shooting at, this is what I should be doing. So yeah, that's what I do. I do a lot of testing, and then Steve and I literally talk for 3 hours about rules and get excited with each other and play the game and figure out what we can do better.
And the next thing I know, I don't know how to play the game anymore. I knew last week. Then these two happened, and now I don't again.
Look at this. What do
They're
you not
wonderful
understand?
explaining it to me, though.
Right.
They're wonderful because that they do. They bring me in. They're like, "All right, what do you think is happening?" I'm like, "I think I'm in trouble."
I'm not going to say anything, right? Because I'm going
to we don't say anything.
Like, don't say nothing.
We just go play the game. What's different?
Yep. And more often than not, I'm like, oh, I know exactly what's going on because you color coded it, or because I don't know, like it's been pretty good. So
Here's
all right.
A comparison between iterations. We have a later iteration of the Barry drawing on top of now with the LCD in there with the grid under there. You can tell why the grid is there. I mean, hello, Space Shuttle.
I loved your grid. We fought really hard for that grid.
Oh my! Like I said, it was my first game. It was my introduction to pinball. So again. So you can see the iteration on the left, right? We have lots of everything filled in. We have the center circle, which includes, this is the meat edition. This is the barbecue meat edition. There was a cities
what?
edition. There was a cities edition.
Oh, right. That's actually one story I wanted to make sure I specifically told in Boston. So originally, the design for the game, the storyboard for the game, was not a food festival. It was a road trip. So it was kind of like a road show where you would advance to the next city, where you would go up against a local, and you would try to like either was it beat them in a cook-off, or were you just gonna be
It would be beat them in a cook-off or defeat them in some other challenge. Which is some of the vehicle challenges came in like that. Yeah, something like that would happen.
So at one point we actually had a bunch of cities listed off, and I was still involved in the vision at this point, and then later on the whole thing evolved, so it all got thrown out. But I insisted that there be a vague town in the top right corner of whatever fictional country, if we weren't using the United States, if we were whatever, was where I was going to go cook me some roast beef. I insisted.
Yes.
And I was like, I will do the voice acting. I don't care. I will throw on my worst Boston accent, and I will cook you up some roast beef with some sauce.
All right.
And I fought very hard for that, and I would have gotten it for you if that whole vision hadn't just been changed and thrown out the window entirely.
Right.
That was on napkin drawings. We were planning on having a vaguely Bostonian guy. In my head, it was all literally I was going to go to Bill and Bob's and be like, just take a bunch of like pictures and stalk that guy. Because he sounded exactly like I wanted him to, and we're just going to make a famous roast beef place. And I'm still holding out for some DLC.
Right? No.
I want it.
But now what you see on the left are 12 fictional barbecue restaurants. Some with great puns that Jack made. I love
Really
Jack's
good
brain.
puns.
Jack's puns are legendary.
Jack Hager's
They're
mind.
fantastic.
Did he ever
right
make
on
me
there.
a roast beef pun? Famous pun?
I
don't
think he
know.
might have, but yeah. But see, now you can see on the left, you see the 12, and then you can see in the middle it becomes 6, because 12 is a lot.
It is.
I mean, 12 gives me some flexibility because, you got 12 faces on the clock. I can link that 1 through 12, subtly teach you some things there, but 12 is too many things. So it's 6 semi-fictional barbecue areas, not necessarily America, not necessarily Earth, places to visit to cook barbecue against these 6 people, these 6 barbecue stars who are challenging you to be better than them in barbecue. So you can see how things have changed in the middle. We have, the art, the Dan Hughes art in here now, great.
Mm-hmm.
We have the screen integration. We have the modes in there on the grid, and then on the right you'll see everything decked out as far as what everything is pointed to across the flyer. I have a few copies of the flyer with me here. I could show that if you want a little bit of a better close-up of it later, I can show you that. But yeah, those are the iterations to show you, what it was and what it became there.
We're still doing 12 things too, because like in between your 6 modes, you're also cooking up the food, and it's different
Right.
every time. So
Yeah.
you're just leapfrogging. Like, all right, cook me some food.
Right.
Now do this mode. Cook me
Right.
some food. Now do some mode.
Right, and you can't cook and do the mode at the
Yeah,
same
you can't
time.
do it at the same time because you get judged when you start it.
Right. So that's I think.
Figure out how to cook good food if you want good
Right.
points.
So there it is.
Like
So-
get your 2 side dishes, drop targets, finish your sauce bottle,
Right.
spinners on the ramps,
Right.
and make sure you get the spice the customer asked for as close to what they wanted as
Right.
possible.
The judges are specifically asking for
Yep.
this flavor. That's the meat. That's
If
the
you
meat
get
eater.
that, we're gonna pay you like 80 million.
The platinum
More.
trophy. That's
More.
More. You can get more.
More.
Yeah.
And then it obeys the Doctor Who. I shouldn't have said that because
That's
we're supposed.
one.
All right. Well, that brings us into our trivia section.
There it
We have like what 10?
There are
10 references?
a strong 10 and a loose 12.
Yeah.
And they're up there. They're up there. So I had to do this reversed.
Okay.
Because originally I wanted to have them
Oh, we
hidden.
got all
and
the
then you have
answers
to-
up
yeah, all
there.
the answers are up there now. And now can you point out where they are in the game? Some of them you can see. Some of them you have to play to see.
Yep.
And some of them are planned.
All right, so
Okay.
we got Doctor Who. I just gave you that one. The Doctor Who
where's
right
Doctor
ramp.
Who? It's on the right ramp. Okay.
It's
that's
literally the playfield multiplier system from Doctor Who. Every time you hit the right ramp, you get 0.5 playfield multiplier, and it slowly ticks away. And it is just as fun as Doctor Who, if you ask me, except we don't take away your comboing ability every 10 shots.
Right.
Although if you hit 10 shots in a row, you don't need any more
You
help.
don't need
You're done.
any more.
You're done.
But let's put-
Tessa, you had your hand up first.
Yeah, let's go.
Give me another
All
one.
the way to the right, the saucer, that's from Whodunit.
Right, that's
Correct.
That's one reference, right? And the Whodunit also, since you must go to Whodunit, the skill shot is also there
I
because
noticed that. Yeah.
right
Yep.
because you
So
can
it's not taxed.
right because then you can also control which one you can let because you know as Whodunit it starts automatic and then you can stop it. You can do it here too.
Okay,
So I saw another hand up over here.
the fireworks is Junkyard.
That is correct, and also
The top
That's not an
Junkyard-
easy one. Good job.
That's great, and also the wizard mode is going to be based on Junkyard because, and I need to go back a bit here because of one of Barry and I's meetings, you know, when and after we were eating dinner with his family, having fun, talking whatever, we play his awesome Dracula and his awesome looking Junkyard, which I then get to the wizard mode, outer space.
Love
I
this
play
story.
through it, and play through it in front of everybody, beat Crazy Bob from in outer space. And Barry and his family are looking at it, and Barry comes up and he says, basically, like, what was that? I had not seen that before.
He had never seen the
He
wizard
hadn't
mode for his
seen
own
that
game.
because he had left as it was being developed. So I was the first one to show that to him. So that means it better be in the Barry tribute game.
I mean, also
So,
we're going to
the-
space with
we're going-
unlikely objects. So
We're going to
my
space
grill
with
doesn't
a-
go to space. So like Junkyard
why
World,
are we
it does.
sending a grilled jalopy to space?
So I think we've now established a weird continuity in the API universe where all we know about the fictional locations here is that it's somewhere in the same universe as Lumina.
Yep.
Because we have some
There's some
call-outs
call-outs
there.
that
So
are very fun.
Somewhere in that universe, and
Right.
then maybe there's jalopies.
Maybe there's
there.
jalopies there, maybe.
All right, so I had another hand up over here. Give me another reference. Nailed it. Barricora Lanes at the top.
Yep.
Right?
And
Double
I'm
top
only just now, after probably 100 hours on that game, finally being able to wrap my stupid noodle brain around them.
No, don't say that because look, one of the reasons why the Barricora top lanes are up there is because I can't do it. It turns my brain.
It makes me feel so much better that he says he can't
Sometimes
do
I
it.
just take
I
both my
love it
flippers.
because like Barricora is in the tournament right now, and I can't do it. You know? So I took Barricora and I basically flipped it on its end, so everything's the opposite of Barricora. Like a Barricora, you need the top lane to like the bottom lane. In this name, you need the bottom lane lit to like the top lane. Everything's reversed. I still can't do it.
He
But I
explained
just
it
want-
to me, and this actually made sense in the little noodle brain. He said it's like Connect 4. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, so if the bottom one's already used, then I get the top. Okay, it's
Right.
Connect 4. I get it.
Right.
Thanks, Steve.
Right. Now,
That still didn't help me do it. Just I can at least comprehend it now.
Now, one of them you might have to zoom in for. I don't know if we can get the full screen of it.
Do we have any other ones anyone
sees?
sees anyway? Derek?
Pit and barbecue targets are from Dracula.
Thank you. Yes, the Dracula position. That's right. They're in the Dracula position, and also arguably the ramps are in the Dracula position as well, but they're a little bit difficult. Yes. So it is a shadow of Dracula. There is also a rule, like you remember the Dracula bats round. There is a rule of that in there. When if you push your grills too hard and hit them too much, your grills are your bumpers. You push them too hard, they break down and malfunction. And to get them to work, you have to hit the grills in 15 seconds, and a hurry up's running.
We got fixed targets
And
up
there's a
there.
fixed
Those are not
targets
for
up
David
there.
fixed. Those
Right.
although we make fun of him all the time with it.
Okay.
All the time.
So this should be the last slide, but we're good.
Yeah.
Let's
Well,
let's
there's
point out-
another easy one that we gave you guys earlier.
Right.
Come on, what's the first one on the list?
Space shuttle.
Yeah,
It's there's a literal space shuttle on the playfield, right in front of those targets.
Right, the space shuttle sweepable drop targets.
We're not
yes.
even pretending on that one.
It's
Gotta
the
have it.
sauce shuttle.
Sauce shuttle. I'm
Yes.
sorry. I'm
Right.
sorry.
Yes, one of our characters is an astronaut. You know, Sierra Sue from the Sauce Shuttle. Yes, she is there. She is also there for a lore reason. So what else? So we figured out Doctor Who. Fire is literal.
Literal fire.
Correct.
There is going to be an extra call out that's not in there yet. I'll spoil it right now. Save my brisket,
Right.
or save my baby back
Save my
ribs.
baby
I think that's what it's
back
really
ribs.
going to be.
Right?
Save my baby. Back ribs.
Right. That's one.
Baby, back baby, barbecue sauce.
Now there's another one that is literally on the play field. It's right in the middle. It's gonna be hard to see.
It's a
with this
little hard
angle,
to see.
But it's a little hard to see. But right in the middle, the name of the grill
Yep.
is called the Iron Phoenix for Barry's first game, as credited as designer. And also the fixed grill targets that are hiding behind the bumpers are in the Phoenix position, where you have grill fixed targets in the bumper garden. So that's Phoenix's reference.
So I think we're just about out of time.
Yeah, we're out of time. But
do we have any time for any questions? We can take a couple questions.
A couple questions.
Do anyone have any questions? We wasting our time even asking.
Anyone who doesn't need to eat lunch, go ahead. Let the autograph session start.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any questions? Anyone want to know anything about Barry or what we did, what we're doing?
I think we covered a lot.
I think we covered it all.
Great. I think we did good. But
Anyone want to heckle us for a little while?
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go. Bring it on, Ding Dong.
But as soon as Steve started speaking favorably about jackpot,
Right.
I'll just ask. I'm taking liberty here, but is the jackpot kind of the ramp system with the tunnel next to it?
The tunnel does relight the jackpots, so that's another link to it.
Now the jackpot's the multi-ball ladder.
But the jackpot really is the multi-ball ladder, because once I'll just say it because you're here. So, okay, you get to the top of the ladder, right? What happens in jackpot? You get your number of jackpots, right? And then what do you have to do? You have to hit the visor, right?
Right.
25 times to open it for the big prize. Well, here you have to go up the ladder, and then something happens where you have to hit something 24 times. And the reason why it's 24 instead of 25 is because I have 6 targets to work with. And then that opens up the big prize.
Yeah.
So I'll just say something so that you can see what it is. And once because the art's not in it yet, but it will be there. You'll have to do something to basically save the festival. And then
from whatever weird threat from space, as there always seems to be in our universe.
There's always a threat from space.
It's always a threat from space.
So that is the
add a threat from
equivalent
space
to the jackpot multi-ball if you get that far.
Hidden anywhere in the game?
There better be.
I mean, you make.
I mean,
There's a lot of cows. Oh my God! Is there a cow?
Harley Davidson, the slingshot plastic. He's riding
We'll find.
a bike.
There's going to be a cow if there
You
is.
have Barry and you have a pig riding a bike.
Lynn.
Yep.
Okay. We had twerking cows in the last game.
Can I get a super jackpot by locking balls with both the saucers?
That is correct.
Yes.
You can also get a mega jackpot for liking all 3 balls and all 3 saucers.
It's good.
Because I don't know why they didn't do that in jackpot. Like, they got the 3rd saucer sitting right there. Yes, if you lock all 3, it's 1, 2 for a super, 3 for mega, and then you get paid. You will get paid 1, 2 more, and then 3 more up the ladder like that. Added together and paid to you.
Yeah.
Oh,
But
that's
the
how I
difference
get
here
up
is
there.
that
That's
I
how
hope you had a
really get up
playfield
there.
X when you did it.
Anything from Comet and Cyclone?
Yes, the top lanes, and remember in Comet and Cyclones, when you complete the top lanes, it increases your playfield X, yes? So when you complete the top lanes here, it boosts the ramp.
Yeah.
What it does is instead of giving you 1, it gives you 2. Which also happened in Doctor Who if you had Doctor 6.
Yep.
Right? So there you go.
I want to have a cyclone reference where.
Right, no, it does not chop it right. There's nothing to chop off your fingers in this game. But yes, but that is the Comet/Cyclone reference. So I'm counting that as 1 game, even though because it's very close.
Can you
It's the
give me
same
an extra
concept.
cyclone reference where if I hit the left ramp 6 times in a row, you just give me a
You
flat
give me
million?
A flat million. Well,
Yeah, I would love
that. It was only going to take.
And then you
4.
could go million.
It's only going to take 4.
Million.
Yeah, it'll take 4.
Million.
You'll get 250, 500, 750, and a million for the left ramp.
That's
yeah.
not your tech sound yet, but it will be. I promise.
Yeah, right. Hey you with the face.
With the ribs.
Right, but yeah, I think we got everything. All right, that's it.
Dog gonna be in
You
there?
guys should be signing autographs, actually. So
Oh, all right.
Okay.
It never occurs to me to even go to the signing. So okay.
We were invited, but okay.
All right, yeah, I guess we're invited to the signing. Thank you all so
We
much.
appreciate you.
Thank
Please
you.
play it.
I
Please
promise
play it. Thank you.
we'll do more of another witty nonsense seminar next year for my game. But thank you all so much, seriously, for joining us for this.
Yo.
Great job, guys. Thank you.